G'day, welcome back to my channel. Good to be here. Now look, this is where we left the lamb wobble slapper last time. It's basically it was all assembled, little parts were all dry fitted on there, and I'd made one set of the bumpers for the side. It's looking pretty good, very happy with that. Needed to start working on the front bumper, the part for the bow, and that required a lot more macrame and a lot more knotting. But here it is mocked up with the two side bumpers, and that turned out really well. Already got 6 orders of the bloody things. And here it is mocked up on top of the schlepper. And I think that's really going to look the part. Happy with that. Now I needed to complete all the track links, and there's 140 more links there to do for the other side. And it was a sticking hot day, 41 degrees, and that's like about 1,000,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Bloody hot. Anyhow, I soldiered on, stuck all my track links down, didn't worry about the jig this time, just did it my method, put the slow setting glue on, wrapped it around the wheels, bingo bongo, chucked in my bloody cotton buds, and I got the sag. Yes, that method always works. Now I need to get on with the painting, so I started priming the interior parts. Little white there on the dash and the inside of the hatches. I also painted around the inside of the portholes and the outside of the portholes. Did this deliberately because there's going to be some clear parts that are going to go in there, and we don't want any exposed styrene showing. Now I'm putting in these clear windows and portholes into the cabin of the schlepper, and they're fairly easy to cut out and clean up, no problem at all. There's only one sprue tab to clean up on every one of them, and it's nicely on a ledge, so there's no issues there. And the other beauty is they friction fit very nicely. Sorry, my big fat hand in the way. They friction fit in, especially seeing as I've got a layer of primer on there, which has helped. They friction fit in fairly nicely. So I thought, I wonder, rather than usually slapping bloody white glue around everywhere and popping them in there to wipe the whole thing clean, seeing as they're clicking in nicely, I wonder if I could do this. And it worked. And that was to, once they're popped in, I've got far too much on there. Once they're popped in, on the inside, where the edge is, just run white glue in there. And that actually works really well. And if you do slop, it's fairly easy to clean off with a bit of water or even a bit of Windex. No problem at all. Because seeing as it's already friction fit, it's not going to take much else. So this tiny layer of white glue, which is never going to be seen, it's on the inside here. Okay, easy as that. So that's all cemented in. Well, glued in. It's not even cement, it's actually glue. And this one right here, that one's already been done. As you can see, you can't see any glue. So it's a very less messy way of doing this. And I want to keep going with that with basically all the portholes, because they've all got nice recessed little sections in there, and they all pop in. So it's really well engineered. It's another joy to be found with this kit, and I'm really loving this build. Now all the windows were in, portholes if you like, it was time to put on the masks, and they were supplied by Hobby Boss in the kit. They went on perfectly. They were all easy to apply, not an issue there at all. So very happy with that. I continued with my own masking to cover up areas that I didn't want to get oversprayed for the interior, and got a nice coat of Stencil grey on. Always makes the kit look good. That stuff is just wonderful. It is so smooth. It goes on so well. I can't say enough about Stencil. I just love the stuff. Anyhow, that got done. I continued painting other parts white for the interior. I painted the track links black. And then once I got the wheels done, I had to paint the tyre surrounds. I had a request to show how I got the black rubber on the tyres. Because I didn't do my usual, I've shown another video, I've got my how I do. I use a stencil, one of these sort of little devices, and usually I'll paint the wheels the tyre colour and then find an appropriate size that fits and spray it in. But with these particular wheels, they have a bit of a ridge up there. Now that can be a good or bad thing with your adding a little stencil over the top, but I chose to hand paint them because when you've got a lovely little bump and a ridge on the rim, it's very easy to get your brush in there and paint around it. Now, here's the trick. I don't actually move the brush. What I do is, I explained this on Facebook if you wanted to see it. Both hands on the bench. So I've got this held in a toothpick, that hand's on the bench, okay? But I'll hold it up a bit for the camera. And this hand, I've got a nice brush. Well, I'm using an SMS sable brush. These are beautiful, 0 colour. These things, you don't know you're living until you've had a really nice sable brush. Even with acrylics. I know some people say they can't be used with acrylics. Quite frankly, I have found these a joy and delight. Plus, these ones have a triangular handle, which means my hands, which if I try and do this in the air, right, I'm going to, there's no way I can keep, I like a bloody mess of it, right? There's no way. But my triangular handle means I can hold them there. Resting my hand on the bench and resting this hand on the bench means that I'm pretty steady. Still a bit of a wall, but I'm pretty steady. Now I'll show you what we'll do, because this is so easy. So I've got my colour here. Shouldn't really take it out of the lid, but there's a big bubble there. I don't want that to pop. I load my brush up, which you normally shouldn't do, right? But I've loaded my brush up, okay? Both hands on the bench here, and I'm even going to try and hold them together with the camera. And I lay my brush on the wheel and I rotate it. See if it'll do it for me. Okay, and sometimes I need to get a little more. The thing is not to have your brush run dry. Keep your brush wet. So again, and rotating. Oh, there, I tried to paint. Easy enough to rub off. But this is a lot easier when the camera is on. So again, keep the brush still, right? And around I go. Hasn't been the most successful one, but I think you get the idea. When you've done like a few of these, see if I get this right. I can't quite see what I'm doing here. So there we go. Now I've got it. Because if you're on a run, that brush is sitting up against that ridge. And around I go, I'll give it, brush is too dry now. Again, you need a wet brush to do this. There's no way you can do it with the brush sort of a bit dry. It needs to be wet. So rest in the brush. Notice also I'm not going down. My brush is just about horizontal. That's kind of the trick. It's laying there horizontally and running up against, the brush is pushing against that ridge. And I can just rotate. Right. And the beauty about having a rim is if I make a bloody gaff like I did there, I can rub it off. I was actually getting this that I was doing them without a single mistake, just letting it run all the way around. Okay, probably haven't done it as well as I've done the other ones. And then you do the inside, which I'd already done on this one. And then once you've done the inside and the outside, horizontally across the top of them, can we see that? Horizontally across the where the tread is. Again, just run. I wish I've lost square. So I've gone off square. I hope that makes sense. It honestly works a lot better when I'm not sideways looking at the iPad and trying to do this on camera. But essentially, that one's painted and it's good enough for what I need to do here. I'll just check. Oh, that's just a bit wet there. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. So rubber on a wheel can be done fairly quickly. Now, I got these down to, there were 20... Oh, well, what is there? There's 4 bogies, 2 in each, 8, 16, and then the 3 small ones, 6, 22. Okay, so I did 22 in under an hour this way. And it really was quite easy. It was quite relaxing. I just sat here, I got comfortable. Get yourself comfortable, set your hands in front of you, not at a weird angle like I'm trying to do. Nice and comfy with your hands in front of you, and you can do these all day long. They really aren't that hard. I think I've matched this camo pattern fairly close, and doing the grid pattern really helps. You grid up your instructions, you grid up a piece of paper that is going to be the correct size for your model, and then you just sort of draw inside the grid. Not everyone's going to be able to do this. It does require some graphic art skill, and for me this is easy because it's my stock in trade. This is what I do all day. I just draw and scribble and create computer graphics. So this sort of thing, I can sort of do it. Now, I have cut out all these little jigsaw puzzle pieces here, Right, they're all there, and they match exactly the same layout. And by numbering them, I can find them again and work out where they go. And I've numbered very simply from top to bottom, left to right. So it started there, and then there, that's it. So even if I mix them up, I could still pretty well assemble this, and even if I lost this part. But look, after cutting those out, because my plan, as usual, would be to paint the light colour, the light blue, which I'm going to use sort of Lataka light blue, which is so close to the colour indicated in the instructions. And then you go over with the dark colour, which is actually a black grey, RLM 66. And that very much matches the second colour that I need. So there's my colours. Now, if I do the light colour, I would then need to mask out using these, and there's 16 aside and 7 on the back. So you've got 39 little things to put on. Yes, we could do that. It's a lot of mucking around. And then I sort of realised, what have I just made here? I've made a bloody stencil. Now, admittedly, this goes backwards, because if I was to use this as a stencil, you would need to put the dark colour down first, because essentially this part's the dark colour and all the holes are the light colour. So I could try that. I could try spraying the whole thing in the dark black grey and then try and spray lightly in. That's a solution. And then I thought, little mind's going, racing along here with ideas. What if I put the stencil on while it's over the primer with any pre-shading that I do, and I'll just spray in the light coloured areas, because I've got the stencil there, and the stencil is going to be easy enough to attach. I will separate it here and separate it here, so I'll make little runs, because obviously that would fold over onto the cabin. So the cabin I'll paint separately. So I'll literally have 3 little strips. But 3 strips is a lot easier than putting bloody 16 on, and it's much more controllable because I can hold them in place. Anyhow, put the stencil on over my primer with pre-shading, spray the light colour on. Okay. Then I'll come back and I'll spray in the dark black grey, and I'll just airbrush it around. Because remember, there is additional black lines to be added all around these shapes. So you've got a little bit of an edge where if you had a little feather of an airbrush, you could handbrush. But it gets even better. I airbrush on my dark colour, which is most of the body then. Then I can come back again, because I've still got my stencil. And if I wanted to just tidy up my holes, I can basically put the stencil over the dark colour and spray in, just gently touch up the light colour anywhere I see that it might have bled in that's just too annoying. Sounds too easy, doesn't it? Or does it sound too complicated? Does it sound too crazy? Don't know. I'm going to give that a try now, and we'll see if it works. Now, I started by doing some pre-shading on the model. Now, this is not something I normally do, especially not with armour, but I thought I'd give it a try with the slipper because it was a big enough subject and there's big areas. So I got all these pre-shaded lines on. Once I've done that, I put on the stencils, as I said, and I sprayed in the light blue colour. That was all easy. Stencils came off. The patterns were perfect, really happy, and a little bit of my pre-shading was showing through. I continued on, did the lower section of the hull as well. It all looked really good. Then I added the dark grey, and I ended up using quite a lot of those colours to get the effects that I wanted. There she is, out of the spray booth, and I've just put a few things on just to sort of prop it up and see what it looks like. And the camo pattern has really worked. I'm really happy with that. I've still got a little bit of my shading going through there. There's decals to go on the front here. Or some of my pre-shading here is not the best, but there's a big snarly mouth to go on there, so I think that'll work really well with that. But I didn't end up needing to put my masks on, or my stencils on, twice. I stenciled these on it, and I ended up making new ones. Well, I essentially I'd only cut out that one. I traced over the ones I had and put them on paper that was slightly wider, that was easy enough to work with. So I had one for each thing. Let me find the cabin for the port side. So this one's the cabin for the port side. See, bow, stern, port cabin, and all I did, the anchor's in the way, but essentially that just sits over there like that. I've got a better photo of that. And I just sprayed through. Actually, I got it fairly close because the cabin was actually off. I had the cabin off while I was doing it. You can see a little insert photo again. And I just sprayed through those and they got me my exact pattern. And I could hold this with one hand and basically just freehand spray. And the pressure of the airbrush kept it fairly flat on there. I mean, this worked because there's not much relief on this. There's only a few little things. So essentially I got that. Then I went over with my dark colour and I got close enough to leave just a tiny feather, but not much. And I think I can cover that out, or cover that over now by putting the little black lines, because there's black lines that go around each of these little camo shapes. So that's what we're going to do next, is I'm going to paint on those black lines and we'll see how this all comes together. Now, using the same brush again, a little SMS 0. Hopefully that'll be right, it should be. And I'm going to use, not black, I rarely use black on a model. Very rare, might be some tiny little thing, but generally I will use just off the black, a very dark grey. So this one is, I can't even say that, Schwarz grey, Ponza grey, right? Very dark grey. So I'm hoping it'll be darker. Well, it should be darker than the black grey we used there. We'll soon find out. Well, it should be, because I painted on those tyres, didn't I? So let's give this a try. This time we will not load the brush up, we'll just have a little bit. And let's see how we go with my wobbly hands. As always, I steady myself on something, but we've only got to make a little dark line. So. Alright, I've started painting this, and first few I just didn't like the angle I was using the camera, I couldn't see what I was doing. So now I'm comfortable, I can see what I'm doing, because the whole thing with me is resting. So I'm resting it on the model, and then stroking around, be able to clearly see. And it's always about the direction. Which way does my hand go? You don't want to fight the direction your hand goes. So for me, an upstroke, going that way, I've got to go that way. But coming this way, my hand likes to go that way. So brush painting, I'm not a big fan of it. It's not my forte. I'd never say this is the thing that I'm best at. Although it's what I always did. I tend to draw more than I actually paint. I use the brush like a great big pencil. But we're getting there. And if I can do it with my wobbly hands, you probably do a much better job. And these are sort of supposed to be randomly shorter shapes. So, and beauty of acrylics and fingers. And everything being grey, I can do little tricks like wreck it. There we go, that we're there. So that's that one. So biggest problem I've got here is that dark grey is really quite dark. So for the that's the camo colour. And then my I suppose you can see them. Yeah, they're there. Yeah, they're outlining them. It's working. Look, I'll keep going and we'll see how it looks when I'm finished. All right? I got better as I went along, and I think these will work. They've dried nicely. I've got lots of fading and shading, but that all adds to kind of the weathered look. And anyhow, I'm going to have a salt wash over this. I'm going to do a lot of other things as well. Sorry about the birds outside. They're making a hell of a racket tonight. Shut up! Bloody wildlife. I've just put the one of the bump rails on there just so you can see. It's going to need to be stained a lot darker, of course. But you can see the effect and see where it's going. And I think I'm getting there. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I've mocked it up with the tracks on. So I'm going to show you something here. I get asked all the time about this because I make my track links up on the sprockets and the wheels to get the sag. You know, I did all the, if you've seen my methods, I glue them all in a big long strip. And then, it'll pick up here. And then I, once that strip is cemented it's then let to be tacky and then it's wrapped around. Now, often people say, well then how do you paint it all? What do you do? Well, it's as easy as this. Because my wheels are only tacked in with some, in this case I've got micro mask or something. It's no, it's something. These will just pop straight off. There you go. Oh, in this case I've managed to break it. But anyhow, it usually comes off in one piece. It doesn't matter. If it's broken, that's fine. But the links come off. Easy as that. And all my wheels come off ready for painting as well. Because everything's just stuck on. Where's the stuff I use? Oh, here it is. Liquid tape. You had a brain, Harry, you'd be dangerous. And you see that one? It's probably a bit bright there. There we go. Micro liquid tape. Great stuff because you can, you put it on one side with the bare plastic and the other side, other part with the bare plastic. Wait till it sets and it's like contact adhesive. They stick together. So they stay quite sticky for quite some time. I've actually sanded it off here now because when you're finished, the beauty is when you paint, and it also works as a mask, you then pull it off and the little areas that need to be glued, they've all been preserved. So it works as a little mask as well. I painted myself there. I've camouflaged my finger. Oh look, I'm tired now. I've done quite a lot today. I've been very busy this week getting this together. So I hope you like where it's going. Next time, hopefully, I'll be pulling off the mask so we can actually see those portholes. I'll have all the little greebles and things all painted up. And I'm going to show you my ingenious method for adding on this and the special bow one that I made as well. So all of that will happen next time. Hopefully it'll all come together and then we'll do, it won't require a lot of weathering because the pre-shading and a lot of the messy painting I've done has actually given this a rather nice sort of blotchy look. So by the time I cover all the decks with bits and pieces and tools and stuff, and I'm going to have things lying around on this, it's going to be a cavalcade of fun. So yeah, tune in next time and we should finish off this lamb wapple schlapper. And I've had a ball. Can you tell? Yes, I'm tired and I'm delirious. Really enjoying this build. All right, well that's it. It's goodbye from Australia and it's hooroo from Harry Houdini.